Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. We're continuing our study of David's wives, and this is our second session talking about Bathsheba. We talked about the whole David and Bathsheba incident from First Kings, chapter 12, chapters 11 and 12 last time. Um, Today, we want to talk about something that happens at the very end of David's life and the conversation that he has with Bathsheba, which is the last thing that we learn about Bathsheba. We really have to start with the very first verses of 1 Kings chapter 1. David is very old and he can't stay warm. And so they search the kingdom for a beautiful virgin to be a bed warmer for him. And they do. They find a young woman named Abishag, and her job is to sleep with David, to keep him warm. And the Bible makes clear that they don't have in any way sexual relations, that she's still a virgin even after David dies. But that, again, um, she has no agency in this, you know. She's just a beautiful girl. And so they decide, yeah, we're going to put her in bed with David. Um, and keep him warm. So that's what they do. At this time, David is so old and feeble, his fourth son, Adonijah, tries to usurp the throne and tries to present himself as king to the Israelites. And of course, the kingdom of Israel is a powerful kingdom at this point. When David leaves the throne, when he dies, he leaves a very powerful kingdom that is just going to become more powerful. But they have achieved and acquired all the borderland that was promised to them when they entered the land after the wilderness wanderings. They have everything now, and so the kingdom's in good shape. But the king is not in good shape, and so Adonijah, the two oldest sons, Absalom and Amnon, are both dead. And then the Abigail's son, we don't know anything about him, but Adonijah tries to usurp the throne. So Nathan the prophet, who is the one who prosecuted David for his sin with Bathsheba, he's the one who handles the situation. He spoke to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon, verse 11, saying, "Have you not heard that Adonijah, the son of Haggith, has become king? David our Lord doesn't know it. So now come, let me give you counsel to save your life and the life of your son Solomon. Go at once, say to King David, Have you not, my lord, O king, sworn to your maidservant, saying, Surely Solomon your son shall be king after me, and he shall sit on my throne. Why then has Adonijah become king? And behold, while you are still speaking with the king, I will come in after and confirm your words." He has those words to confirm because he was there when all this happened. So Bathsheba does it. King's very old. Abishag the Shunammite is taking care of him. Bathsheba bows and prostrates herself before the king. And the king says, "What do you wish?" And she said, "My lord swore to your maidservant by Yahweh, your God, saying, Surely your son Solomon shall be king after me and shall sit on my throne. And behold, now Adonijah is king, and my lord the king, you do not know it. And he has sacrificed oxen and fatlings and sheep in abundance, and has invited all the sons of the king, and Abiathar the priest, and Joab the commander of the army. But he has not invited Solomon your servant. And as for you now, my lord the king, the eyes of all Israel are on you to tell them who shall sit on the throne of my lord the king after you. Otherwise it will come about as soon as my lord the king sleeps with his fathers, I and my son will be considered offenders." And then Nathan comes in and confirms. And so David takes one of the last decisive acts of his life, um, and calls Bathsheba in and tells her what he's going to do. He instructs the high priest Zadok um, to to um, to coronate Solomon. Solomon is anointed king. Solomon rides on the king's mule. Adonijah submits, and then Solomon comes to his father and David advises him, which is a wonderful passage in 1 Kings chapter 2, which is like nothing else except the conversation between Don Vito and Michael in The Godfather. I mean, it's very much, this is how you take care of business once I die and you become king. Um, but we just, this is the last thing that we see of one of David's wives. And we do see her exercising agency and standing up for herself and her son. We do see Nathan the prophet counseling her and advocating for her, kind of in the way he did when David sinned. Nathan the prophet never condemned Bathsheba for any of her actions. He condemned through God. God through Nathan condemned David for those actions, and David repented of those actions. And if you doubted that he repented, read Psalm 51 because he did. Um, but Bathsheba still has a role to play, and it is to make sure Solomon is the one who rules. And in Matthew chapter 1, when Matthew gives Jesus um, Jesus genealogy, he doesn't mention her by name, but he mentions her. To Salmon was born Boaz by Rahab, and to Boaz was born Obed by Ruth, and to Obed Jesse, and to Jesse was born David the king, and to David was born Solomon by her who had been the wife of Uriah. We're not permitted to forget David's sin and her lack of agency in all of it, and that the husband that was her husband, the husband that she loved, was the husband that David killed. It's right there in the New Testament, in the lineage of Jesus. Well, we want to talk tomorrow, one more session, about the problematic nature of David's um, relationship with women and the price that he paid for that, because he did pay a pretty high price for that. And we'll talk about Tamar, David's daughter, tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.